Zoop, Ragiroth, do what?
Ragiroth Enterprises.
So now let's talk about if she is playable, what would her abilities be and how she would fight like. Okay, so now when Android 21 was first announced, I was incredibly mixed on if she'd be playable, on the idea of her being playable or not. On one hand, I thought it'd be cool because, I mean, she just looks really cool. I know if you've seen some of my videos talking about Dragon Ball Z, I kind of sometimes knock on Akira Toriyama's designs, especially some of those more modern ones. And like, I kind of worship like the movie characters and the GT characters and all that. But here's the thing, when Akira Toriyama gets it right, he gets it right. Like, some of his more recent designs are really cool, and I really like them. I mean, for God's sakes, he made my boy Hit, at least I think he did. I mean, he's canon. I'm just assuming Akira Toriyama made him if that's the case. So I mean, she looks really cool, and I like the androids, and I think it's really cool they're finally, introducing a new one. But I guess I was worried because I'm like, to take the slot of a character that's already established. It's like, why are they making up characters already? The game series just started, like, calm down. But I think as time went on and I saw the rest of the roster, I think I kind of, I totally warmed up to the idea. I think it'd be a breath of fresh air, and like, it wouldn't be a boring starting roster for a DBZ fighting game series. I totally warmed up to the idea, especially because like, fuck, we got Hit and Goku Black in the game. It's like, I'm a little, more forgiving now on who's in the base roster. So I have totally warmed up to the idea for being playable, and I really hope she is. And, I guess let's first look at things that are, saying why she wouldn't be playable and why she would, what's supporting the case for being playable. I'm going to start with what's not first, because I think there's very little what's not, and I think the only two things that are kind of hurting her chances is the fact that A, she's playable. Why would she not be revealed to be playable first? And secondly, Arxes has had NPCs in their story modes in games before. But here's reasons why I think she probably is playable. Yes, Arxes has had, NPCs in their games in their story modes before. However, like 9 out of 10 times, the boss is always playable. The only times the boss has not been playable is, it's only if like the story mode boss is a giant monster. Or the only other case I could think of was Guilty Gear Xrd Son with the story mode. The story mode that you just, unfortunately it wasn't actually playable, you just kind of watch stuff. And there was a unique villain made for that. The story mode, I forget her damn name. She's pictured though. She was not playable in the game at all, and spoilers, they basically beat her and she's done. So I don't think she'd ever be playable. Unless she comes back or something, I don't see that happening. That's like the only time, and I really think that's only because that story mode was basically like a extra movie that came with the game that I guess tied into it. I don't know, something like that. It wasn't like a traditional story mode. This game, however, thankfully has a story mode where you actually play, do fights, and all that. And if they make her a boss, she might as well just be playable. New 13 isn't playable in days where Ramlethal has been playable in Guilty Gear Xrd. She was, I guess, the original bad guy before the story mode. Izayori has been playable. You can play with Terami, Hazma, U12. It's like, Guilty Gear. Or Shomanazuki, Labris. The list goes on. It's like the bosses. in the initial arcade version, maybe they're not playable, but the console version are always playable. So there's just so much of a precedent of characters like Android 21 being playable that it would just seem crazy for not to be playable. And look, the people love her. The internet is freaking out about her. you know, yeah, she's pretty hot. I won't lie. I literally Googled Android 21 Dragon Ball Fighters, and the second picture is, well, pretty risque. I can't really post it. I'm sorry. Just Google it and you'll see what I mean. And she's pretty popular, and she'd be a brand new character. And another thing that I think really supports her chances is that there was a trailer. I forget when it came out. It was like November or like October. And near the end, they were showing clips of characters, I think intros or victories. I forget which one. And at the very end, there's this new, I guess, little scene of Android 21 kind of doing this power-up thing. We have never seen her do this before. And oh, by the way, I'm sorry, I would show the trailer, but Namco Bandai has been kind of very strict about their trailer. I've actually posted in past videos before, and I always get a copyright strike. So I'm trying to avoid using any cinematic trailers for this game. So I'm just using pictures and stuff like that. Just so I don't get any copyright strikes. I apologize, and I would just look for trailers of the game and see if maybe you stumble upon it. It wasn't that long ago, but anyway, it's like, you know, that little clip of her. It's like, why would they show with other playable characters and their intros or outros? And like it, just that little thing, it looks like it was, you know, either a victory pose for her or an intro for her or something. And not only that, but now it looks like she has like 2 forms or something. So you know at least one of those forms is going to be playable. Now, there are where things get kind of, you know, iffy, you know, because I think a lot of people are theorizing that, yeah, the form we've seen her in is probably not her battle form. You know, her battle form is this weird Majin Buu, Beerus, whatever form that we're seeing very little glimpses of. I am very, very, very divided on this. While I'm sure I would like her playable regardless, and I think either form will look cool and play cool, I really like her just standard design, and I think it would kind of suck if after this, you know, that's not how she looks when she's playable. And like, not only that, like, the new form kind of looks kind of Majin Buu-ish, like a female Buu, at least that first picture we saw. And like, look, I got nothing against the female Buus. I really like them in Xenoverse, but it's like, we got them in Xenoverse. We still don't have a new freaking android race. Like, can't we just have a good old-fashioned, like, new android to fight with? And another thing I'm concerned about is, you know, yeah, the new form might look cool, but if it really is taking, like, abilities, you know, characteristics from other characters, like, don't tell me she's just going to be like a Necrit or Doral, or like, another example. Or I guess, well, hell, Cell or Mirror themselves and just taking moves from other characters, like, yeah, I don't mind those movesets as, like, much as I do, like, full clones and stuff, but I think that would be kind of a waste. You know, I wanted to kind of sort of do their own things. And not only that, but it's like, you know, some people feel like, oh, maybe the last 2 characters are both forms of her. Like, yeah, I guess that would be cool, you know, yeah, we'd kind of get best of both worlds, but then, you know, no more actual original DVD characters, and no base roster, no Bardock, no Broly, no Cooler, no Vegito, no Janemba, you know, let's wait for them to DLC. That would kind of suck too. It just sounds like it might be a win-lose situation. The only thing I could think of is that perhaps the transformation is like an overpowered, like crazy-ass boss form. And you do fight her in, you know, the normal, you know, form that we see her in, you know, just typical stuff that, you know, that we've seen pictures of. That could be a possibility, but I do maybe think that the more likely form is probably this transformation. I guess lastly, this I can't really say much on because we don't have much to go on, but how she would fight. Obviously we've talked about, you know, using abilities from other characters. I think it's possible. I don't think it would be terrible. I think it would be kind of lame, but not terrible by any means. I'd still probably play as her, especially, you know, because I feel like we already have Cell for that. And hell, even Cell, I mean, she could play. I mean, she could play like another Guilty Gear or BlazBlue character. Maybe she'd fight like maybe kind of a reference to a U13 or Remlethal and kind of have abilities like them. I mean, you know, it would be sort of lazy, but I also really like them, so I wouldn't be terribly pissed. personally, I think the overall best route would be, and I've seen a lot of people suggest this, she does, I could see her kind of giving a Super 17 kind of vibe, where she kind of uses, like, you know, weapons that she forms, well, I guess off her body, and maybe like absorption and things like that, and like dark energy attacks. I think that would be really cool, and I could see her having dark energy attacks just because how her aura looked when she charged up in that little still we saw. Or she could just have, I mean, she could have something totally off the wall that we're not even thinking of. I know people originally thought maybe she would just fight like a scientist like Kokonoe does in Blade. I think that'd be pretty lame if she did. Like, yeah, it would be unique, but I mean, she's an android. She should fight like, you know, an actual like DBZ powered character. And it seems like I think that theory is probably becoming less and less likely with, you know, the charging up and the transformation. I don't think that's going to happen. In terms of her play style, obviously this is even harder to theorize. If she has moves from a bunch of different characters, that could really be anything. I can't really give anything there. Otherwise, I do see her as like a zoner far range character. You know, absorption, having all these blasts and weapons and stuff like that. I you know, and it's like just the trend with the, you know, the final bosses and Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue being, you know, females that like have a lot of far range moves. It's just kind of adding up to maybe be that way. And I would be fine with that. I wouldn't complain. Elsewise, it's like that's really all I got for speculation there. I personally am hoping, especially when we never get Super 17 in this game, I would not mind if she fought like him. I'd be totally fine with that. Either way, I think she is going to be a character I use a lot unless they totally screw her up. But with how this game's shaping up, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's it for this. I just wanted to have a little talk about our, you know, mysterious, sexy android character that's going to be, you know, in a game in a month, you know, game coming out in like a month or so. I feel like most of the videos I've seen about her, you know, it's not really. I could be wrong. You know, going and, you know, talking about who she is and how she might fight. You know, I thought it'd just be a fun thing to talk about. You know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you think, you know, what she might be, who she might be, you know, what kind of creep, you know, what kind of android she is, you know, how she might fight, like if she actually is playable. You know, don't forget to check out Mark in the description below. And as I always say, another time, another place, keep being awesome.